Yep, there's no music here. No sound to be found at all. Really. I'm gonna have to find some other music to use here. Regardless, welcome to the 1980s computer gaming scene, and welcome to the game that created one of the most prolific genres in the entire video game industry. Welcome to Rogue. It should be noted that I'm playing the Steam re-release of Rogue, which uses a DOS-box version of the DOS released by Epix in 1985. Oddly enough, apparently the rights to this version of Rogue made its way to a Mormon company? Weird, but okay. Regardless, the DOS version has some more graphics than the original Unix version, such as some more color and the adventure being this happy little face instead of the @ symbol. The story doesn't change though. You play as a rogue with any name you give, searching the dungeons of doom for the Amulet of Yendor, some of the most generic 80s fantasy names I've ever heard. And yes, I did learn this from the virtual version of the instruction manual. Go check it out. Everything is presented through the dungeon map that's revealed as you explore, and the interaction dialogue in the upper left corner of the screen. Yep, that's all of it. Purely keyboard controls too. Speaking of controls, you're mostly a victim of circumstance. You walk around with arrow keys and use this big list of commands to interact with the world in various ways, from chugging random potions that may or may not make you drunk or give you bulging muscles, to eating food, to going from dungeon level to dungeon level. Combat is mostly just ramming yourself into the enemy letter and hoping you hit it more than it hits you, otherwise you'll end up like John Arbuckle getting his head caved in by an orc. Like I said, you're mostly a victim of circumstance. Sometimes you'll just endlessly miss your attacks, or you'll just drop down a hole into an inescapable pit, at which point you just have to die and restart. There's no continuous progression, by the way. Unlike every other game in the new roguelike genre or roguelite genre, the original Rogue didn't have any progression system that slowly made it easier to run through the dungeon. You were just back at square one all over again. I mean, hey, it was pretty good in the 80s. So yeah, that's Rogue. Oh, the DOS version at least. It's pretty decent if you're curious about what the original game is like, and it's pretty cheap on Steam, only like $3 or so. Though, like I said, unless you're curious or just really into this kind of thing, I wouldn't really recommend it. It's the barest bones version of this genre you can think of nowadays. Most other games now have built upon what Rogue created, so yeah, it's mostly just a foundational learning tool for people who want to explore the old genre and see what started it all. Anyway, this has been TheRatMan, and I will see you all later. Lastly, a special thank you shout out for my Patreon. With $5 a month pledge is cupping my nuts to protect them from the nut decoupler. Thank you for the $5.